So welcome to our first ever, we're calling it BrewZoom until we think of a better name for it, or we get a cease and desist from Zoom. But we're here with Emily Slayton over at Skeleton Key Brewery. They are actually just starting to do some canning. So first of all, let me have Emily tell us a little bit about Skeleton Key and kind of go from there.
All right. Yeah, so we're located in Woodridge, right off of Lamont Road, just south of 75th Street. We have been in business for a little over 3.5 years now. It's me and my brother and my husband. My husband's the one in the black shirt. My brother's the one in the blue shirt.
Mm-hmm.
John is our head brewer. He's my brother. And then Paul's my husband. He is our taproom manager. And then I'm just sort of the glue in between. So I do all the other things.
She makes it all work, and we can say that because they're not paying attention right now.
I think they'd probably agree. But it really does take all three of us. We're lucky to have our individual skill sets that come together to make this work. But yeah, we've got about 6,000 square foot space. About half of that is tap room. Right now it's a little messy. Definitely not dirty though. Everything is so crazy sanitized. It's unbelievable.
And I mean, that's part of living in a brewery anyway, where the sanitation is just so important, let alone these days where it's even more important than ever before.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think for our industry, it was probably a little easier to adjust to that because it was just like, all right, so now we just amp up in the tap room the stuff that we already do in the brewery, and we're good to go. But It's still our hands are definitely raw.
So definitely with having your husband involved and brother, family, stuff like that. Well, obviously we know how you met your family, but how'd you end up meeting Paul?
Paul and I we both worked in the hospitality industry. We met for the first time close to, holy cow, probably 13 years ago. 13 or 14 years ago. Oh gosh, maybe even more than that. But he was working at the clubhouse in Oak Brook and quit, and I basically got his job. And so then I started working there, and as hospitality people do, we all went out for drinks afterwards, and we would go to this little bar in Lombard called Anyways, and he was working at Morton's then, and so he would come out, and that's how I met him. But it wasn't for probably I don't know, 4 or 5 years after that we actually were at the right time in our lives where we ran into each other again and went on our first date, and that was it. And so now we've been together for 11 years.
And how did you guys decide to open up the brewery?
So John and I have been talking about, so we come from very different, backgrounds. Paul kept on with the hospitality, and he went on to manage bars. He managed the Gauge downtown on Michigan Avenue, which is a really high volume gastropub. And he was managing the beer program down there. And meanwhile, John was working as a, what is his title? Like a trading desk manager for grain and soy future portfolios. Those are probably the right words, but all in the wrong order. He worked with money, at the Board of Trade. And then I was working in marketing. And so, nice, John. And so we were, John and I were talking about starting up a business, and originally we thought we were going to do a commercial kitchen. It was when food trucks were first starting to be a big thing. We thought, let's start a commercial kitchen, like a commissary, where we can help be a springboard for other people's businesses, and then we could do some event stuff on the side. And it was just going to be sort of a creative outlet. He was looking to, he had just gotten married. He was looking to move to the suburbs, settle down, and have some kids and stuff, and just wanted something that's, he's a really creative, smart guy, and those talents were wasted on just spreadsheets all day. The irony being that here he does spreadsheets all the time too. But the more we looked into it, the more we realized that it just wasn't as much of a passion of ours as brewing beer was. And so we tried to take that model and move it over into the brewery. And we were like, let's see if we can do this. We've been home brewing at that point for about 7 years. Yeah, 'cause now it's been 11. We started homebrewing right when Paul and I first started dating, so that's how I can always remember. But the more we got into it, we were like, let's see if we can make this work and see if we can sort of be that springboard for other people in a brewery setting. we couldn't do it exactly the same way because you can't just have home brewers come in and batch up their recipes and sell it. You have to have a liquor license to do that. So our incubator program was born, which has been on hiatus for a little over a year now, and we were going to start it up again this year, but obviously with everything going on, it's going to be on hiatus a little bit longer. And we have put it on hiatus because we've been planning an expansion when all this COVID stuff happened. So we'll see where that goes.
But I would say,
yeah.
as you mentioned, the incubator program, that almost is the a little bit of the key, or key pun intended, to the name Skeleton Key. So
Yeah.
who actually came up with that?
Well, so like I mentioned, my background was in marketing. I worked at a B2B ad agency in Burr Ridge, and I had a really great mentor there who helped me, get better at branding for businesses. And so when it came time to brand my own business, I sort of had a background in that already.
Nice.
And I liked the idea of Skeleton Key. We went through like everybody, like a jillion names, but Skeleton Key made the most sense because it, in addition to having like that duality where it's, it can either be edgy or it can feel classic. It can feel like vintage or it can feel edgy. We like the idea that it was one key that opens many different doors. And we figured, our tap room is one of those doors through which people can appreciate beer. The classes that we teach, both through COD's Business to Craft Beer program, and then also at the brewery, we teach all sorts of different classes here, is another way for people to get deeper into beer. And then our incubator program is sort of the key that opens the door to helping someone else open their doors.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, some of the classes, I mean, I think, was it originally this weekend, I think you guys had almost like a meditation class scheduled, before closures of everything.
That was the second series we did. The first one was so popular and really just, such a great thing for this time. I got into meditation earlier, like last year, and I found that it brought so much grounding just to my daily life and helped me calm down those anxious racing thoughts. And I thought, everyone should give this a shot. So we did a free class first, and then we did a 4-week series. And then at the end of the 4-week series, everyone in there was like, are we going to do some more of this? So we did it again. And then of course we had to shut down the tap room. And so that class was canceled. Our ciders class that we were going to be doing with Two Fools in Naperville, that was canceled. We had a mead making class that was going to be happening. That was canceled. So, it's been kind of a bummer because March was going to be a big month for classes, and then the COD program, of course, is canceled because of this. Paul and I teach the front of house class for that, where we teach people how to like manage a bar. But yeah, so it's normally we try to have several classes a month, and then in the summer we close down school for summer just because there's so many fests and things that we have to do.
Understandable. And I know too, I've been there when some of your students have been behind the bar actually kind of learning. And also too, I should say, I've been there for the homebrewing class, somebody from, was it I'm blanking on their name, Urban.
Oh, it was Eileen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, there's always great classes going on, things of that nature. One of the things that I know I noticed the first time I went in there, and are you standing close to the bar right now where the Golden Rancor is?
Yeah, but that's funny that you bring up the Golden Rancor because, so the Golden Rancor is our staff fantasy football trophy. However, I'm going to turn on one of the lights so you can see this better. So I was the reigning champion, and prior to that, Paul had been the champion, and prior to that, John had been the champion. So we had the Rancor up on top of our bookshelves for 3 years. Now this last year, we all lost. So the Rancor no longer resides at the brewery, at least not for this year. But what is here in its place, and hopefully you could see this, is the shade, which is equally impressive in so much as it shows just how bad John is at fantasy football. So he finished at the bottom of the league. So he is now the proud owner of the Shame Trophy. And we make him display it here so that we can remind him all the time how terrible he is at fantasy football.
And somehow you need to put a post-it that just has his name on it so they know who
really
underperformed.
We really should, because you're right. Otherwise it feels like a reflection on all of us. I'm going to get on that.
And that brings an idea. We'll have to do the Ale Trail Brewery versus Brewery was it, we got 20, I mean, that would be a huge fantasy football. Sorry, light
Oh,
bulbs
yeah.
come on. Light bulbs come on, you never know when's going to come on.
That's
Uh,
great.
so I think the first beer I had at Skeleton Key Brewery was Migratory,
Yeah.
which you guys had that, the coconut flavor behind it was amazing. It was one of those, I'd never had a coconut beer before, but I was just impressed. So for somebody who's never been into Skeleton Key, and obviously it all depends on the time you go in, what are some of the top beers that are kind of those must drinks when you visit?
So the migratory is definitely the most popular. It has been ever since we made it for a Valentine's Day dinner. I think it was the very first year we were open, and we just made it off the cuff, just as like a special beer to have as part of the dinner that we did with Roaming Hog. And you could just see people's eyes light up, and we were like, "Oh man, we got something here." So we've continued to make it the way we've always made it, which is hand toasting the coconut ourselves. So previously we were toasting it out of a commercial kitchen in Hinsdale. Then we were toasting it out of Parker's restaurant. So we've got a good relationship with those guys. And now we're toasting it out of Cadence. Yeah,
Okay.
in Downers Grove. So so it's been really nice to also have those partnerships that allow us to do that. But it is, and we've got it down to a science. I can toast 50 pounds of coconut in an hour. So it's, we got it nailed down. But that's definitely the most popular. We're actually out of it right now, but looking at putting it back in cans again. So it just sort of actually working through the logistics of that today. But hopefully by April 20th, don't quote me on that, but hopefully by mid to the end of April, we'll have more migratory and it'll be back in cans.
Well, this is going to live online, so we're going to hold you to that.
Oh, God. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Well, April 19th is my birthday, so I mean, if you can make it happen a day earlier.
Yeah, we were doing it for your birthday, Dan.
Exactly,
so
because I am turning 40 that day, and I'm going to go into hiding probably after that.
Join the club, man. Join the club. I did that earlier this year. It's not great.
And it's funny because my wife turns 40 2 days later. So we usually,
really?
We celebrate on the 20th, go figure. And my dog, which I'm looking at right now, turns, unfortunately I can't turn the camera, she turns, you turned 10, I think, this year. I have a little bulldog who's, if you hear any noises in the background, it's either her snoring or chewing. Depends on the time, because she woke up right when we started the call.
Nice.
But going back to kind of, some of the collaborations you talked about, one of the beers that came out last year, I believe it's called Hold My Crown. It was part of the Pink Boots Society. Tell us a little bit about Pink Boots, kind of that beer, and kind of what this year's beer is.
Sure, yeah. So Pink Boots is a professional organization that is open to any woman who makes a living from beer. So that can be, it used to be just brewers, now it's a little bit of everybody. So you get retailers, you get taproom managers, stuff like that. And it's been great because it's really helped sort of, diversify and grow our membership. There is a Chicago chapter, which was just getting started up last year. I had been involved with Pink Boots since right before, I think a little bit before we opened. And I was actually the recipient of a scholarship. So they have the whole point of Pink Boots is to inspire and educate and sort of create a sense of community for women in craft beer. And part of that education piece is that the money raised from things like the Pink Boots collab goes towards funding scholarships. And so it's all sorts of cool stuff. My scholarship took me up to North Dakota State University, their Barley Field School, which might not be so exciting for many people, but it was a really incredible experience. I got to meet a lot of cool people and just learn a ton of stuff about barley, malting barley. But so when we did Hold My Crown last year, it really started, partly from that idea of like, hey, let's help grow the kitty for the Chicago chapter. Let's help get some money into the funding for scholarships for around here. But even bigger than that really was the idea of just bringing together a bunch of women who don't really get to see each other very often. This is, it's a very collaborative industry. It's a very friendly industry. But we see each other at beer fests and we see each other in each other's tap rooms. And so it's very catch as catch can. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool just to have a day where we can all get together? And, that day, I think I was one of maybe 3 women who's in the brewery fairly often. So for a lot of these women, it was their first time actually getting to work with commercial brewing equipment and be part of the brewing process. And so that was really cool. And in another aspect of it, we did variations of it. And that was Amanda Wright from Chicago Brewworks. I'm sorry, from Workforce. Well, both. It was her idea, and I really loved it because it gave us an opportunity to encourage these women to work directly with their brewers on finding, on actually creating different variants of the beer that we brewed together. So it was like taking what they learned here and then getting to go back to the brewery and making that connection with their head brewer, and it just seemed like a nice way to sort of bring it full circle.
Mm-hmm. And two, you're also very involved. You're on the board with the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild. Yes,
yeah. I sit on the board of directors. I'm the executive committee member at large. It is my second year. It has been an incredible experience working with these, just titans of the local beer industry. And it's been really neat to get to be part of shaping the programs and the things that we're trying to do for our members and be a real active part of that. And also getting a better look at the government, like the legislative aspect, because that's something that I wasn't as familiar with. I knew that the Guild does great things for us, and that was like the extent of it. But now getting to actually be a part of, the decision making and also just, trying to get our members' input on that stuff and so that we can all grow the industry. It's been really cool.
And it's very surprising how much behind the scenes you wouldn't even think of. I remember attending a meeting, I think it was at Skeleton Key about a year ago, and just everything from where growlers can be filled to tax rates on beer. There's a lot of work that, is probably even going on right now with all the kind of stimulus packages, things of that nature. My next question, if we want to take us over to the canning line, do you want to show off a little bit of what's being canned? I know this is the first time I know you mentioned that the beer that you're canning, you'll tell us about here in a second. It's the first time you guys have canned this one.
It is, and I'm going to make you talk to my brother for a little bit real quick. John, would you like to talk to Dan Molka about the beer we're canning today?
Hi, Dan.
Hey, how's it going? We haven't seen each other probably since. You're here? Yeah, it's surprising. You guys got the lights a little bit down on this side of the bar, which I can understand.
That's crazy. It's crazy that I can't even see you over there.
I'm a ninja drinker. It's something that's a T-shirt I'm gonna sell probably soon. But yeah, because I think the last time I ran into you was probably Starved Rock Brew Fest last year, which I believe is being rescheduled. I don't know if they've announced a specific date yet, but
that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and we will obviously keep you posted on that. But so tell us a little bit about what you're canning.
So we're canning a IPA. It's probably more along the lines of like a West Coast IPA. More towards the dry side of things, all citra hopped. So it's about 60 IBUs, and just packed with a lot of late boil citra additions, and
no worries. I know stuff going on,
and a bunch of citra hops in the dry hop as well.
Let's show off that can artwork. I just saw you have it in your hand there. Professor Murder. It's some really cool artwork. I know you guys are behind. There's a lot of cool things going on. Now, actually, what's in it? Is that a squirt gun in his hand? It looks like the old Super Soaker.
It's not a squirt gun. It's a futuristic
ray gun.
Ray gun sort of. Or maybe like futuristic mixed with like a little bit of steampunk, maybe.
Nice. I used to have a squirt gun that looked exactly like that. That's the only reason I say, going way back in the day. But who does a lot of the artwork for you guys?
Well, there's generally one person that does all of our artwork, and that's our other brother-in-law. So we're very fortunate to have a lot of in-house talent.
Yeah, definitely.
And also with sort of, regular daily life kind of slowing down for my brother-in-law in terms of his normal workload, he had extra time to kind of bang this out for us in a very short period of time.
Yeah, I would say
but
bring him in to help can.
He does almost all of our T-shirt designs, most of our label designs. I mean, the migratory was not him, but it's a good friend of his, college buddy of his, another friend of ours. So, still somewhat in the family. But yeah, it's
Real quick, what's the final gravity on?
2.8.
Now, how many cans do you go through, like in the kind of a canning process, and how long does it take for that?
So, I mean, you can see this very sophisticated, beautiful piece of machinery. It goes real quick. I mean, I don't know the numbers myself as far as how many cans it spits out. Yeah, I mean, we're usually like a full, so our fermenters are we've got 3 15-barrel fermenters and 1 30-barrel fermenter. And so we'll go through, one batch of that, which is yielding, roughly 375, 400 gallons of beer. We'll have that all canned and packaged in a couple hours.
Oh, geez.
So it's pretty amazing how quickly it goes. As opposed to, normally we do everything in kegs. We don't have bright serving tanks here, so we serve everything off of kegs. And that'll take, typically a little bit longer to get a full batch of beer kegged off, just because it's not automated, it's all manual, so it's all us doing it. So it goes really quick.
And how long would you say, the can gets canned today? How long before we see it on shelves?
Today.
Oh, where?
Yeah, I mean, we're not. I don't know how much of this will get out to shelves. I mean, really, this is a matter of us trying to package our beer in a way that is easiest to get to the consumer. In terms
Let alone
of just
quick. Yeah.
In terms of just traveling, but also logistics for us. We've had to basically switch our entire business model from, 85-90% taproom sales to all, distribution in a sense, direct distribution to consumers. But we're pouring, we're pouring growlers, we're bottling beers. It's a lot of work on a daily basis for us to, meet the demand. And that's why we keep our hours kind of tight, just because it's a ton of work to fill all these growlers. So this is an easier way for us to just, somebody says, hey, I want a 4-pack. We can just pull it right off the shelf and it's ready to go. So
yeah,
we're gonna be having these. I think we're gonna be selling these today. Yeah, we're gonna be selling these today, as well as growlers, or just these. Yeah, as well as growlers of everything else that we have on.
Yeah. So
but I think just curbside pickup today. We're not doing delivery. But yeah, this will just make it so much easier to just say, somebody says, I want a 4-pack of that beer. You can say, come by right now.
Yeah, and let alone too, it's not kind of waiting for the growler to be tapped and things of that nature. Take it home, put it in there, and I know I'm kind of the only beer drinker in the house, and I can't put a growler away myself, but things like that. So actually, which one of you guys came up with the skeleton key in a box idea?
Oh, that would be our marketing director.
Paul helps me a whole lot, though, and he wants to talk to you, too. So I'm going to give you over to him so he can talk a little about the boxes.
Yeah, I would say the SKB in a box is probably more popular than the iPhone these days.
Oh, man, the SKB in a box has been doing great for us. It has. We've been it's nice to see you, by the way, Dan.
Yeah, you as well. I would say it's been, I think it was Thanksgiving time the last time I was able to get in there. I had a second kid.
So.
I had a second kid, so my
congratulations.
Thank you. My off-site beer drinking has gone from minimal to 0 these days, but
I've gotten a lot better at drinking at night when I get home. Yes, I have.
That's the way to do it. And I think the latest SKB in a box was almost inspired by your friends over at Orange and Brew, if I remember right. Had a lot of dice in it, things of that.
We did. It was. So I mean, Emily had this brilliant idea. We were kind of inspired by something we saw they were doing over in the UK, which was kind of a pub in a box thing that places were doing for local delivery, basically just offering some of their beers. And we thought, well, that's a great idea. It's like, but everyone's stuck at home. Let's give them not only something to drink, but something to eat and something to do as well. And Emily just started kind of putting these ideas together, and we did our first box, and it went over huge. And we just did our 8th one. We can only do it so many times a week. It's pretty crazy to put together to get our other local, this past week we did a box that we paired up, like you said, with Orange and Brew, had some stuff from them. Grumpy Gaucho, one of the food trucks that comes out here, we had them give us some frozen empanadas is one of the things we included in the box. This past Tuesday, we had Chef Erica Tomei from Twisted Classics food truck gave us a bunch of raspberry bars, Lano dip that we threw in there. I mean, we're trying to support everybody that we work with locally, on a normal basis in these abnormal times right now, basically.
Well, I will try to see if next time I go to the office, I'll put together a bunch of Route 66 stuff for you guys.
That'd be
And
great,
that could
man.
be, not that we encourage cruising down Route 66 and drinking at the same time, but, have your beer and get inspired, things like that.
Right.
So one of the reasons that you guys are actually our first brewery that we wanted to showcase, and our plan is, assuming I don't blow up the internet or do something crazy where this deletes, to kind of visit some of the other craft breweries. And there's a lot going on, even though you can't have the tap room open, things of that nature.
Right.
So tell us a little bit just about, and I know your brother touched on this a little bit, but how you guys are operating during this kind of the stay-at-home orders and things like that.
It's tough. We are being as careful as possible. Most of our employees, unfortunately, we don't have a lot for them to do right now. They're our bartenders and stuff, so we miss them, and we can't wait to get back together with them. We got a couple of our employees helping us with deliveries. Our one full-time employee besides ourselves is Adam, who is absolutely amazing, and he's helping us as much as he can every day. But we're trying to, like I said, along with the boxes and the food thing, we're trying to do things like we just had Cheryl Rohde, one of our favorite musicians who plays here, a week and a half ago. She hijacked our Facebook, so to speak, and she did a live stream on our Facebook, which was just awesome. It was so much fun. We do one of the other things we do. In fact, tonight we're doing a virtual happy hour with a bunch of our regulars. We got about 20, 30 of our Mug Club members that are going to be getting onto a virtual happy hour with us, which is awesome because considering how little we see of anybody, honestly, the fact that we got these guys from Ironheart here, it's like the first visitors we've had in forever. It's really nice to have a couple people in here to help us out with this.
True.
But we're me and Emily are kind of just managing everything every day, all day right now. John is doing as much as he can, keeping the beer going. He's got kids at home too, so it's tough for him to, have to be home with kids, and then still make time to be here every day. So me and Emily are just kind of trying to do everything we can to keep the ball rolling. We're trying to make sure we give ourselves at least one day a week to, recoup and make sure we don't drive ourselves insane, because it's very mentally and physically exhausting. But at the same time, it's kind of exciting. And seeing the support that we get from, not only our customers and our regulars, but also the community and the beer community in general is amazing. We're helping each other out in every way that we possibly can. I actually have today a friend of mine. She's a rep for Rheinhall Distillery downtown. And she hit me up yesterday to ask if we had any past date kegs that we were going to dump because they were looking for donations. They're making hand sanitizer to donate for the medical use in the medical profession and stuff. So she's coming by today to pick up a few kegs that she can take back. They can distill down and make some hand sanitizer out of. Which
that's awesome.
I love. Again, any excuse to help everybody else in our industry and to help the medical profession and anything that we can do, we are down.
And what we'll do too is we will kind of put links out there, things of that nature, obviously for you guys to just as you guys come with projects, let me know. I'll make sure to definitely get the word out.
Yeah.
So I've ran through a lot of the questions. We've already made fun of your brother for losing the fantasy football league in the Golden Rancor.
I'm glad he was honest with you about that. I'm glad.
Well, actually, that was all Emily. I didn't press him about it too much. One of the ideas, we may launch a brewery versus brewery ale trail fantasy football league. Maybe we compete.
Awesome.
We can compete for something fun, or
actually, that's a great idea. If you had every brewery service one team and the owners of the brewery had to agree on the moves that they made with their team, that might create some rifts, but it would also be a lot of fun.
We can put the winners on some advertising or something like that. We won't say it's, hey, visit this brewery, they won the fantasy football. Like I told Emily, you never know when ideas come up with, so that's so kind of in conclusion, we're going to put this live on, or we're going to put this on Facebook, YouTube, things of that nature. So During this time, what's one message that you would pass along to some of the people viewing? Or I'll repeat that. What's one message that you might pass along to some of the people viewing this video? Just kind of about the world today, for lack of a better way to say it.
You know, one of the weird things we were talking about yesterday is how a couple weeks ago when this all started happening, we felt like, you know, it was everything was going into crisis mode, basically. And a couple weeks later, it's scarily starting to feel like this is the new normal. And we know it's not. We know we're going to get past it. It might take a little longer than we think it's going to, but we just want everybody to stay safe. We want everybody to stay at home. We want everybody to, you know, keep in touch as much as possible and remember us and come see us when all this is said and done. Because if there's one thing that drives us crazy as people, the social butterflies that we are when it comes to running our brewery and engaging with our customers, we miss having people around so much. And it's every day is a challenge just to get through without getting to have any kind of contact and conversation with people. So everybody, including yourself, please stay safe and come and see us as soon as you're able to.
Definitely. And for those who want to order beer, if you want to kind of give us the, what's the best way to order beer right now for you guys?
So the best way to order beer is we are doing online orders. You can go to our Facebook page. About 1 o'clock, I think today, we're going to post our orders for the day. Like John said, we'll be offering up our fresh cans. We're literally about to start canning run right now of our Professor Murder IPA. Go to our Facebook page. The link will be right there. You'll basically get to order what you want, be it cans or growlers, and then we'll do pickup. I think today pickup is from 3 to 7 p.m. So
Perfect.
People can come and get their stuff as they want.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and definitely pass along to everybody else there. Thank you so
Dan.
much.
I will. They're right here. Dan's leaving, guys.
Bye, Dan.
Bye, everybody.
So much,
thank
Dan.
you guys so much. And then definitely, too, if there's anything you guys need from our end, definitely let us know, okay?
Thanks so much, man. We really appreciate it.
And we're going to get this on Facebook here hopefully in a couple minutes. And, yeah, definitely stay safe. And you guys keep having fun. I see smiling faces over there, so definitely keep smiling.
We're trying. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, guys, and we'll definitely be in touch soon. And hopefully I'll be there sooner than later.
That'd be great, man. Have a great day.
Yep, you too. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.